guys, so it's VEDA day 20 and it's super exciting. That means only 11 more days of August, so 11 more videos every day at least. Yeah, I am finally getting something up when I'm supposed to get it up. The last two uploads have gone up way too late and I apologize. But yesterday I had a video request from somebody named Jessica E. I won't say her whole last name because I don't know how. I mean, what is that? I don't want to call people out and invade their privacy, but at the same time, I don't know. I want to acknowledge them so that way they know that I'm thinking about them and that I'm doing things specifically for them, so I don't know. So yeah. Anyways, she wanted me to do a video, well, yesterday's video, but I was too tired, it was really late, about how we make it work for me to be a stay-at-home mom, because she's considering doing that too. That's a really difficult question to answer just because everybody's situations are different, everybody's cost of living is different, it depends where you live, stuff like that. Things that are available to them are all different, but I will try to answer that the best that I can in terms of the way that we work. I had to go back to work 4 weeks after my daughter was born because I was a single mother when I was 18. With my daughter, I had to work 2 jobs. I worked as a receptionist and also at a retail store, American Eagle. Don't ever work there. It's a horrible company. But I did, yeah, it was exhausting. It was very difficult and it was exhausting. I missed out on a lot of my daughter's life, with her going to her dad's after she turned 6 months old, plus working 2 jobs. I hardly felt like I saw her at all, and it was really hard on me. When I got pregnant with my son after my husband and I got married, we talked about it a lot. I was very, very adamant about wanting to at least stay home with him for the first year or the first 6 months because I didn't want to miss out on those things again. It was really important to me that I didn't. Also, I wanted to breastfeed, and I know that it is very, people are very capable of breastfeeding and going back to work, but I knew it would be easier for me to be at home and do that. But again, people can do it, you can do it, I could probably do it, but I just chose to stay at home. My husband was raised by a stay-at-home mother as well, so he agreed that it would be in the best interest for our son to stay at home. So we did have that conversation, and we had decided that prior to having kids and prior even to having or getting married. He understood my want to be at home and, be able to have those moments with my second child since I missed him with my first, so that kind of made the decision a little bit easier. My husband by no means is a wealthy man. He is a good man though. He works really hard. He has a stable job that he's kept for the past 7 years. We were okay. I know that we should have probably saved more money when I was working. That's my one regret. Granted, Wyatt was a little bit of a surprise. He followed a D&C and a blighted ovum, a planned pregnancy that we had tried to have. We didn't necessarily expect him to come so soon, so we didn't really we kind of decided after my D&C that we were going to wait a year, and Wyatt had different plans for us. So, not saying that it wasn't our fault and not saying that we aren't extremely happy, but we should have saved more. And if we had known that Wyatt was coming, we would have saved more prior to me quitting my job. So again, had we known that Wyatt was coming, I would have saved a lot more money before I quit my job. So when I did quit my job, it was actually, I did work into a few months of my pregnancy, but because I had my miscarriage, I emotionally couldn't handle working and being pregnant at the same time. So I did quit my job about my 3rd or 4th month of pregnancy. Also, I was just very, very nauseous. I was throwing up all the time. So I did quit, and then my daughter was in preschool at the time, so it made sense for me to quit just because I needed to be there to pick her up and drop her off, or drop her off and then pick her up mid-morning. It's really expensive. Daycare is super expensive these days. I don't know how it is where you guys are from, but it's ungodly expensive here. Add on finding somebody responsible enough to pick your child up from school, it just gets even messier. So, yeah. We also made sure that we had insurance. That was very important to us. My husband has insurance for his job. It is an ungodly amount of money a month. It's like $400 and something a month for all of us. Plus, also our deductible is really, really high. It's like $5,000 per person, $10,000 for family. It's just ridiculous. So we knew that we were going to be strapped for money. We are strapped for money. We don't live luxuriously by any means. We definitely live on a budget, and we, it's, yeah. When we realized how, close we were going to be in terms of how much income we were bringing in if I stayed at home, we had to start making some decisions. One of the decisions we made was that we sold my car. My husband has a company car. It made no sense that my car sat in the driveway forever and just sat there. It just sat there and sat there and sat there. Nobody drove it. I was paying insurance on it, and it was just depreciating in value. So what we decided to do was, my tags expired, and we needed to renew them. And at that point, we were just like, why are we even spending $100 and something to renew these tags? So we sold my car, and that was a huge thing for us, because not only did it mean not having a monthly insurance payment, but also meant not having to worry about renewing the tags every year and it just sitting in our driveway. So we do have one vehicle. We are a one vehicle family, which it's not an issue because we don't ever really go anywhere separate from each other, because when my husband is home, since he works full time, I want to spend time with him. So yeah, that's another thing, is we don't really have places to go. We made a decision, especially with this second child. We did live a little bit more frivolously when it was just me, my husband, and my daughter, but with the add of children, you have to start realizing what's more important. Having a big family, having everything that you want, or going out and spending like $150 at the sushi bar. Trust me, I would love to spend $150 at the sushi bar. But we wanted more kids. I wanted more kids. So, with Wyatt, we really were very cost effective. Staying at home saved us money on daycare. I did work a little bit part-time as an office manager, just because I felt like I wanted to go back to work. But then I really it was too much. I missed being at home with my family and stuff, so I quit that job. So that's been the only job that I've had in the past probably 3 years. But since we were on a one income, other than being down to one car, we also cut back on other things. We didn't go on trips a lot. We used to go on weekend trips. We used to eat out more than we did, and now we have a meal plan that we follow. I have lots of cheap meals that I make sure to make every week. We have maybe one day a week that we eat out, and when we do, it's never really expensive, and it's usually just a date night for me and my husband. We go over to my parents, I think, at least once or every other week for lunch or for dinner. They live down the street. We see them a lot. In terms of activities with the family, we have a Zoom membership. You try to find those cheaper or free things to do with your family that are still educational and fun, because you don't have to spend money to have fun, we just really tried to find all the places that we could cut back just so that I could stay at home. I've had to lower my standards on a lot of things. I don't buy as much makeup as I used to, or as expensive of makeup. I've had to try to find kind of dupes for all my high-end makeups. I used to spend a lot of money on purses, like designer purses and clothing. But after I got married and got pregnant, that was just like, why even have nice clothes after I started having kids again? Because my kids spit up so much. So, you can buy really cheap clothing that looks really good on you. It just is a matter of looking hard and, just not being too picky and piecing stuff together. So, we just all had to make sacrifices around the board. We do still have nice things, though. We'll save up for one nice object. Like, me and my husband really enjoy our Apple products or having nice things like that. So we will save up for those few things, but it's just not like it used to be, where the second we wanted something, we would go out and buy it. With a second child, it's really put a bigger strain on us, just because we've had some unexpected costs that have come up in the last month. It's really hit us hard. We're already planned to have been kind of, I don't know. It's hit us pretty hard. The money that we were relying on before now is no longer there, because we had to pay these unexpected costs. So it's stressed us out a little bit more, but we know that we'll be okay. When we decided to have a second child on one income, we realized, we talked and sat down, we're not going to be able to go on big trips for a while. We're not going to be able to have these things for a while. It's not going to be a really, really comfy, fancy life for us for a while. But that was what we wanted to have a second child. You can always have money later in life. You can always go back to school. You can always get a better job. You can always work more. But you can't always have kids. I'm not always going to be young. My kids are not always going to be young. You know, there's only a certain window of time for that. My husband is 37. There was not time. I asked a lot of people, my parents who have 4 kids, and we were very strapped for money back then. Now they're great. I mean, now they don't have the kids in the house and can work full time, but back then, my mom made the same sacrifices to stay home with us, and we had hand-me-downs and all of that, and it's made me a better person. So in the long run, I want my kids to be able to appreciate their lives and appreciate money and working hard for it now, so that way when they're older and I am working full-time, they can have the nice things and they will appreciate the nice things, and then they can pass that on to their children. So we really just realized that we will have our kids now, we will have our money later. We would never have another child, though, if it weren't, you know, completely possible for us to, though. I think that's a little bit irresponsible. But for us, you know, by doing cloth diapers, by making sure we're budgeting our meal plans, by not spending our money where we don't need to spend it, you know, we get by. So, yeah, even though this year, or this time around, our plans changed a little bit just because of just those, you know, those unexplained costs that just all of a sudden hop up. We'll be okay. And that's how we do it, is you make a way. You find a way, you just live smart, and you give up those things that you don't necessarily need. You know, that coffee to Starbucks, or, you know, driving around just to drive around because you're wasting gas. Or, you know, if you're gonna go out, make sure to plan like 4 different errands in the same side of town, so that way you're not just spending money to spend money on gas. Buy a cheaper car because it lowers your insurance rates, stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of things you can do to save money if you really want to be a stay-at-home mom and you don't have a huge income, and that's what we've done. I do intend to go back to work in another year, but right now it's just all about me staying at home with the kids. My daughter's in school, so again, somebody needs to be here when she gets home and pick her up, and that's important to us. So that's just what we've chosen for our family, but it's not the right and ideal plan for everybody. Not everybody can do that, and you know that there's nothing wrong with that at all. I couldn't do that with my first child. And really, I mean, a lot of people probably wouldn't want to live like us because they want to be able to do those nice fancy things. But for us, it's just more important for me to be with my kids. And for me, it's more important for me to be with my kids as well. So yeah, that's that. I don't know. I don't think I always say that, but I don't think I explain this very well. But that's kind of just how we've done things. That's how we do things. We have a very happy life. We love each other, and we're so excited about the new baby and stuff. And, you know, luckily we were smart and we saved all the big objects from when my son was born. And even though we don't have a lot of things yet for baby girl, and it is our third, so we won't have a shower or anything, we'll find a way. You know, you can find a way. There's nothing wrong with hand-me-downs. There's nothing wrong with consignment shops. You know, I found some of the cutest vintage outfits of my own at, you know, consignment shops. So, yeah, it's all about just, you know, replacing those more expensive things with cheaper things and being happy with that for now. I mean, there's a lot of things that I now spend less money on, and I'm like, that is just way cuter, or that's just as good, or that works just as well. Why was I spending all this money to begin with, you know? So yeah, I don't know, that's that. And also baby stuff, I did want to say that too. The one way that we have managed, I mean, yes, we had brand new stuff with my son, but there's nothing wrong with buying like bassinets and co-sleepers and all of that type of thing. There's nothing wrong with buying those things at garage sales or at, you know, consignment shops or from a friend, you know, because you're never gonna, like, if it's your last kid, you're probably not gonna use those things again. You know what I mean? And this lifespan of them with a child is so short that it's just ridiculous to spend that much money. So don't feel ashamed or embarrassed to do those things. I luckily was, you know, lucky enough to get those big things brand new, you know, from showers and stuff with my son. But if you aren't, and it's like your third kid, or it's an unexpected kid that you weren't, you know, prepared for, don't be ashamed of doing that. Don't watch other YouTube mommies and be like, oh yeah, they have the greatest, newest things, and, you know, feel guilty about that, because just I don't know, that was one of the biggest things I had to get over when I lost my income. Was my friends were still going out. Well, my old friends were still going out and doing all this fun stuff. I felt like, I saw all these parents who had all these nice brand new things and stuff, but what I really didn't see behind that was the money they were wasting on this really great, nice new stuff, or the debt that they were putting themselves in for this nice, new, great stuff. Don't feel bad. Whatever works for you and your family, like, that's good enough. And it doesn't matter what you have or what, brand it is or what it looks like, as long as it works and you're happy with it and your kid's happy and healthy, So we bought a co-sleeper off of Craigslist for like $40, and all I did was I just like soaked it and washed it and sun bleached it for 2 days, and it's as good as new. We're gonna use that thing for maybe 3 or 4 months, and then I'm just gonna give it away to somebody, or I don't know, give it to my church or something. Just don't feel bad. That is something really important I want to mention. I think society makes us want to live up to certain standards because of other people around us. And other people's standards are different than ours. Not only that, but what we find important is completely different than what other people find important. If you're constantly trying to live up to everybody else's expectations and the way that they live, you're always going to be wanting. And that's something that I really had to change about myself, because I was like that for the longest time. And I've finally become happy with myself, the way my house is, the size of my house, the way I look, the clothes that I wear, the things that my kids have. I finally accepted that I'm not going to be like everybody else. I'm never going to have as much money as Bill Gates. I'm never going to be, I'm never going to look like those supermodels. And I'm okay with that. My kids are always going to be happy. My kids are always going to be provided for. And they're going to be a lot better off knowing that I worked hard for it, my husband worked hard for it, and that we made sacrifices so that they could be here. So keep that in mind, okay? If you see something that I have even, or, I just don't feel bad. Just don't feel bad. Don't let anybody else make you feel bad. So, yeah. Sorry to ramble. Jessica E., I hope that answered your question. Thanks for the suggestion. I love you, girl. You're just really supportive, and I'm so happy you found me. For everybody else, hugs to you. I will see you all tomorrow at VEDA Day 21. Bye.